And we are live. This is Canada Hoops Daily presents Wrap It Up, the live and interactive Raptors postgame show, coming to you after each and every Toronto Raptors game, but especially the nights like tonight, kids. What a win for your Toronto Raptors as they run the Milwaukee Bucks out of the gym. Remember all the talk about trading for Dame Lillard? Wanted to trade for that guy? I'm being facetious, joking around for sure, but the vibes are super high tonight on the podcast, as your Toronto Raptors are winners, big winners, massive winners, running the Bucks out of the gym, 130 to 111. Thank you, as always, for tuning in wherever you are getting this podcast. Make sure that you like and follow Canada Hoops Daily across all platforms. You can find us this live post-game show after each and every Toronto Raptors game. You want to chime in, you want to send in your comments and questions, you can find us on Twitter at CanHoopsDaily. You can also find us on YouTube at Canada Hoops Daily. Subscribe to the page. That's how every time we start rolling after the show, boom, pops up in your feed. We got us covered. You can join the show, comment, send in your questions, and enjoy the vibes with us here on the pod, because I can see the comments already filling up, and I love it, because this is why this pod exists, for this kind of night. Raptors win, 130 to 111 over the Bucks. A lot of hype, not a lot behind the hype for the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. This, as I mentioned, you might be wondering, Canada Hoops Daily, it's a brand new thing. You're going to find out a lot more on the way in terms of what Canada Hoops Daily is. But just know, follow the accounts, and you will be there right as we get things going. But this Wrap It Up is the first project under that brand. A lot more on the way. But we are everything Canada basketball. Everything from a hoops perspective. You're talking news, features, opinions, everything. Full court coverage of your Toronto Raptors, Canadian NBA stars, and Canada basketball. And on nights like this, when the Raptors come out and blow out Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks, we are the Raptors post-game show that you want to be a part of, because it's so good to be back. And huge shouts to Canada Hoops Daily for bringing back the Wrap It Up pod so we can have some fun like we do tonight. People, please hurry up and send in your comments and questions. I will go through the game, but there's not much to go through other than the Raptors just running and gunning and doing work. And that's cool. I'm okay with that. More games like this, please. Right? I mean, after the game that the Raptors played against Portland, the vibes were not high. The vibes definitely were not high. But on a night like this, you know, you're kind of worried because you look ahead and you take a look at the week ahead, and you got a back-to-back against the Bucks. Then you play Nick Nurse and the Sixers again. But you come out in this game, and there's a lot of talk in between what happened on Monday and what happened tonight about the Raptors offense, what that looked like. Is it time to panic? Are people worried about what's going on? And I give credit to the players, you know, Siakam, obviously Darko as well, just trying to calm the nerves. It's early. Got to relax. Got to give it some time. Things will work out. Things will look a whole lot better. And boy, did they look a whole lot better tonight. As the Raptors, I mean, you look at the shooting numbers, for example, okay? If not for the bench coming in at the end, the Raptors numbers, I'm talking like garbage time minutes. But even with that, you shot 56% from the floor in this game. 56%. The Raptors were the last team in the NBA to reach the 110-point mark, and they did that by a lot, clearly, as they finished with 130 points in this game. The offensive floodgates just opened up, and it was a beautiful thing to see. And the thing about it, if you're a Raptors fan, that you have to be really happy about, really excited about going forward, is the fact that the Raptors came out with energy from the beginning. And I know it sounds simple. It sounds cliche. It sounds like things that coaches say all the time, right? Like, just bring energy, bring effort, bring heart. But then you watch a game like what happened with the Raps on Monday, and the Blazers, especially the Blazers bench, they really came out and took it to the Raps. Tonight, that wasn't the case. You got Dame in town. You got Giannis in town, and the Raptors right from the jump were just ready to go. And I said this on Twitter, but I feel like the Blazers thought this was like a summertime Rico Hines run. That was the energy the Blazers came out with in this game, especially Dame. I don't even know if Dame broke a sweat in this game at all, but credit to the Raptors for being ready to play. I don't know what's up with Dame and Giannis, and I don't know what they thought coming into this game, what it was going to be. Like the Raps were just going to lay down or something. I have no idea. But credit to the Raptors who came out gunning early, and they made just 4 threes in their last game total, the entire game. They hit their first 3 3-pointers in this game. Pascal hitting, Scotty hitting, OG hitting. And the Raps, the ball movement was the key. So much talk about 0.5 offense and just passing and passing and passing. And I said this on the last pod. And huge, you know what? I shout out our regular listeners because you know that I'm not just, I'm not gassing myself. I don't say shit to gas myself or to make it seem like, hey, I'm so right and this is what I said before. But you guys know it's real spit that I try to give on this pod a lot. And what we talked about at the end of last pod for a while was about ball movement. And I mentioned the Kawhi Nick Nurse clip. Do you remember that? When Nick Nurse was talking about Kawhi Leonard and the first time he spoke up in a meeting and the whole team was talking about, oh yeah, we got to pass. We got to swing the ball. We got to rotate it. We got to do this. We got to do that. And Nick Nurse is describing it as coach speak. And Kawhi eventually put his hand up and said, I'm not passing the ball just for the sake of passing the ball. And then everything just followed suit. Now, the purpose of me talking about that was in reference to the 0.5 offense. Of course, you want ball movement. Of course, you want to keep passing the ball. Of course, we spent a whole entire offseason talking about last year's team was selfish. They're not going to be selfish this year. And so you come in this season and you're talking about passing the ball, passing the ball, passing the ball. But there's a difference between passing the ball and doing it with a purpose. And I felt like in today's game, the Raptors did that with a purpose. The big key was definitely getting into the lane and making plays. And if I say that, I can't go much further without talking about your man's Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder in this game, I just thought that he came with a presence. He came with an energy. He came with the mentality that he was not going to be stopped. And he played that point guard position that, I got to be honest, we've been seeing it so far, and I didn't know that he could do this consistently. Now we're 5 games in, but what I'm saying is play that traditional point guard position, right? Like he was getting in the lane and he was diming Jakob like crazy, getting Jakob easy layups, no look passes in the lane, like just getting guys easy buckets. And I think that is what you talk about when you're speaking 0.5 offense. Passing with a purpose is not just about swinging it around the perimeter and running a motion offense. No. At a certain point, you need some paint touches, get the ball in the lane, and then that starts everything. Then you're talking about the hockey assists. That's what we're talking about in terms of this 0.5 offense and just making the other team have to play. And in this game, that was so much more important because clearly the Bucks came in with the mentality of, okay, like let's, we'll kind of like schlub it around a bit. We'll wait to get into the game, get into the flow. We'll relax. But no, the Raptors with their ball movement, the Raptors by forcing the pace, forcing a tempo, forcing and being aggressive to the basket to make plays, forced Milwaukee to either match their intensity or get run out of the gym. And the Bucks chose to get run out of the gym, right? That first quarter, like this game was over in the first half. There was no signs of life from the Milwaukee Bucks. I think at one point they cut it to 13 maybe, and then Scotty hit a 3 to really end all that noise. But at the end of the day, the Raps, even early on when they were turning the ball over a lot, you still liked the pace that they were playing with because there's an understanding, and I've said this from the beginning. If you're going to play with this 0.5 offense and you're going to play pushing the ball and pushing with tempo, there's going to be turnovers. That's just going to come with this. So you have to accept the good and the bad. And luckily, in this game, the way that this really played out, even the Raptors' turnovers early didn't really hurt them that much at all because they were turning over the ball, but they were also getting easy buckets. I want to say it was their first 6 field goals were all off the assists. That's just great ball movement. That's just great team play. Schroeder had 5 early assists in this game. Pirtle had 8 early, 11-2 run early. Raps were up 22-8. That got extended even more. I think the next run after that, on top of that lead, was a 15-3 run. Siakam just, I thought Siakam did a really good job here too, because the other main theme we talked about was the Raptors bench play. And another thing we've discussed is, how are you playing your bench? It's cool that you want to play 10 guys. That's cool. But the need for maybe having more than one starter on the floor at all times. And you might have little windows where you have just one, but you can't be playing major minutes with just one starter on the floor. And I thought even in that little window, Siakam did a good job of saying, okay, this is my time. I got this. A little ISO, Hezzy, pull up, Jimmy. You can't stop that. And it's good in spurts. You don't need that all the time, but there's moments where you need to just be like, no, I'm that dude. You look around, you're on the court with the other bench guys and say, okay, the scoring's going through me. The playmaking's going through me. That's just what we're doing for this little run. And I thought that timed out really well for the Raps in this game, while also getting solid play from their bench, because so much of this first half was the Raptors' good vibes. Everyone was happy. Everything was good. But the thing that impressed me so much was that the bench came in and they maintained. That's not really something we've seen from the Raptors bench so far this season. Normally the benches come in and the play has dropped considerably. And I kind of worried when they went to the bench and then you saw Giannis checking back in to go against the Raps bench. But it didn't matter. The Raptors did a good job, and we're seeing adjustments because, of course, we are. It's game 5, right? So is that Otto Porter's music we heard? Yes. Early Otto Porter Jr. minutes. What? Out of nowhere. Out of the Raptors comes Otto Porter Jr., and my guy was splashing threes. Like, how many games did Otto Porter play last year? Like 6, 7, maybe? Otto Porter was he's a vet. Our longtime listeners will know how much I talk about grown-ups and how you have a need for grown-ups to get minutes, if for nothing else, just to settle things down sometimes. Sometimes you need the guy who's going to make the good rotation, who's going to make the extra pass, who's going to just do the right thing. So simply, right? Not going to try to do too much. He knows his role. I'm in the corner. I get the ball. I'm open. I'm going to take that shot. Knocks it down. I thought Grady had a really good game, even though the shooting numbers might not be there, but it's a theme that we've been talking about lately with Grady as well. Again, I'm bigging up the listeners that continue to listen to us here and join the conversation on the pod, because you're recognizing the themes that we've been talking about. And one of the things we talked about with Grady was that his ability to contribute, even if he's not knocking down shots. And in this game, he only had 5 points. He was 2 of 10 from the floor, 1 of 8 from 3. That's not good. But what I did like was that he was active. He was moving around. He was mucking it up, standing in front of Giannis and taking a charge. Like, you got to think about this for a second, right? Grady standing beside Giannis. Grady looks like, he's probably still a freshman at Kansas, or even a high schooler next to Giannis. But no fear, standing in the lane, taking a charge. And that's how you're going to earn consistent minutes if you're Grady Dick. It's not all about, can you shoot threes? Can you hit threes? As a young player in the league, you earn your minutes with defense and hustle, because that travels. That can be consistent when you're having an off shooting night. And I thought that Grady was still productive, even though the shot wasn't falling. And that's huge. That is very huge. So the Raps, again, that first half, they were just running and gunning. They had 10 assists on their first 12 field goals. They were up big after one, 31-18. Jakob Poeltl in that first quarter, 8 points, 6 rebounds, 3 blocks. 6 rebounds and 3 blocks is just being active. And you love that from your big guy. But also, the 8 points, he was finishing off the dimes that he was being given, he's being blessed with by the rest of his team. Because it wasn't just Dennis Schroeder doing the assists, right? Pascal Siakam had 6 assists. Scotty Barnes had 5 assists. The whole team was moving the ball. So you see how that all works? See what we're talking about here? 0.5 offense is not just about passing the ball, doing your motion offense that you run in high school where you pass the ball and screen away and then pass the ball and screen away. No. There's more to it. Get to the cup, get paint touches. Then that's how you help the rest of your team because you're getting better shots. You're forcing the defense to move. You're forcing the defense to feel threatened by what you can do with the ball. And then when you give it up, that guy's got an easy look. And I think that's the beauty of what happened for the Raptors in this game. The ball movement was just on fuego. Also on fuego. Talking about 3-point shooting here. Let's go through some numbers here, okay? Because we mentioned how tough it was for the Raps in their last game. As in their last game, the 3-point shooting was not good at all. Scotty Barnes in this game, 4 for 6 from 3. Pascal Siakam in this game, 5 for 8 from 3-point land. Dennis Schroeder, 2 of 4. You're not going to get that kind of 3-point shooting every single night. But if there's a night for you to get that 3-point shooting, you want it to come against Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis and Dame Lillard, right? But I see the chat filling up. Really appreciate everyone chiming in, sending in your comments. Keep doing that. That's how you become a part of the show. If you're ever looking for the full feed, just know you can find it on YouTube. Just look up Canada Hoops Daily. Make sure you subscribe to that account, or on Twitter. You can find the full show on Twitter at Can Hoops Daily. That's how you contribute there. If you're watching this show somewhere else, I just got it on a bunch of different feeds, honestly, at the beginning, just to, in the wise words of Stringer Bell, put the word back up on the streets. We back up. It's the only reason you're finding this feed magically other places. But long-term, just know you got to be on at Can Hoops Daily on Twitter and Canada Hoops Daily on YouTube. That's where you can find the show. And of course, you need to make sure that if you missed the show live, you can join us on Apple or Spotify, because this becomes a podcast later on. Got you covered for your late night ride home, maybe your early commute in the morning. We got you covered if you ever miss the Raps. We got you covered. We maintain the vibes, not just for the live show, right? Mention the runs the Raptors went on. They shot 14 of 23 in the second quarter. They led 66-44 at the half. The big thing here was every single starter was in double digits at halftime, except for Dennis Schroeder, who had 9 assists. It's beautiful. It's just a thing of beauty. The Raptors just played so well in this game, and I thought that Dennis Schroeder was doing it on such a higher level in terms of point guard play. And the worry without Fred VanVleet back there was, could Dennis Schroeder be a floor general for you consistently? So far, he's done it. So far, he's answered the bell, and especially in a big game like this, like, he's a vet, so he's ready. He's amped up to go against Dame Lillard, right? Through 30 minutes to start this game, the first 30 minutes of this game, Schroeder had as many assists as the whole Bucks team. That's the production you want from your point guard if you're the Toronto Raptors. That's the production you need from your point guard if you're the Toronto Raptors, because you have a young team trying to figure out your new offense. And if we're being honest, remember, part of the reason Schroeder's here is because he wanted to be here because of his relationship that he has with Darko. So there's a trust factor there. Darko's instituting his new offense. Schroeder's a point guard. You often hear the talk of the point guard being the extension of the coach on the floor. We're seeing that so far. Just a thing of beauty. And the second half, this game was over. This was basically a Raptors version of court cuts. Just watching great highlights by the Raps. Scotty Barnes playing bully ball. Pascal running and gunning. It was just beautiful. Raptors led in this game by as much as 27 points in this game. Incredible. Just great. Great night all around from your Toronto Raptors. And I thought that, at one point they cut the lead to 13. And then Scotty Barnes steps into a 3, and Scotty Barnes is shooting that 3 with confidence. If he's able to do that all year long, watch out, because, wow, then I don't know how you stop him, to be honest. If he's aggressive going downhill and has the ability to pull up and knock down those shots from deep, yeah, that's a problem. Meanwhile, on the flip side, got to talk about the Bucks a little here. Not a lot, just a little. Dame Lillard, I mentioned, this guy looked like, I honestly don't know if you could find the shot of Dame Lillard in this game where he broke a sweat. Seriously, I don't know what he thought. I don't know if, and I'm tiptoeing around this because I don't want to get too hyped up talking about this because it's a common thread of what's happened in this modern NBA where guys are just asking their way out and trying to join all these other super teams and join these other superstars. And to quote my guy Cuffs the Legend online, just ducking the smoke, running from the smoke, trying to partner up. And I don't know if these guys think, well, this all fits into the narrative of the regular season not mattering. And, you got Booker and Bradley Beal sitting out the first few games of the year. Jimmy Butler sitting out for rest in like game 3. Dame literally walked on the floor in this game, and he basically just was like walking up and down, not doing anything for the majority of the first half of this game. And I don't know what's going on in their mind. I don't know if it's just like, I'm here for the playoffs or whatever. But like, man. And I'll say this. Because on the flip side, I'm so happy the Raptors like ran them out of the gym because I'll be honest, the most fun Raptors team that we've seen in a while was you got to go back to the Dwayne Casey Pound the Rock teams, right? And those teams won. The beauty of how Masai Ujiri and Dwayne Casey flipped the narrative of this franchise was Dwayne Casey and the whole Pound the Rock. And no matter what, we play with effort. We play with heart. We demand that you play defense. That's how you get minutes. That's how you stay on this team. And if you do that consistently, night in, night out, you can be at least a 500 team in the NBA. Because there's a lot of nights where teams just show up and they're just not ready to play for whatever reason. And it was really good to see the Toronto Raptors come out in a game tonight and just be ready to play. Because that's how they're going to have success this season. And Jack did mention this at the end of the broadcast. I thought it was really cool because he's totally right about this. Now, and he referenced Dwayne Casey, right? But he said, you just showed me what you can do if you're the Raptors. You showed me that you can come out and play with full effort from the get-go. You can start the game on time. You can pass the ball, get paint touches, be unselfish, pass up good shots for better shots. Get busy, play hard defense on Dame and Giannis. You showed me now that you can do that. Now you have to do it consistently, right? Because now it just comes down to a matter of effort and mindset because you just showed that you can do it. Now you got to do it all the time. And I mean, you got to do it soon because you got Nick Nurse and the Sixers. You're going into Philly tomorrow and not really sure how many of the new guys will be in Philly's lineup yet because obviously they just made the James Harden trade. But we don't have that far back to remember. It was just Saturday that all it took really was Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. And I'm pretty sure both those guys are going to be in the lineup tomorrow night. So if you're the Raps, payback might be a nice time for some payback. And again, you showed what you can do defensively and offensively. So now you just got to keep that going. So again, big win for the Toronto Raptors, 130-111 as they improve this season to 2-3. The Milwaukee Bucks, everyone's favorite to win the East, is 2-2. And I say that jokingly because on one of the other pods I do, the DVP pod, we were talking about who's the favorite in the East before the season started. And I said it still goes through Boston to me because the Bucks are solid and I think they're a good team, but I really think the fact that Drew Holiday, like I questioned, if you were the Milwaukee Bucks and you knew ahead of time that by getting Dame Lillard, Drew Holiday would end up on the Celtics, do you make that trade again? And yeah, you probably do because you kept Giannis and you get to keep Giannis and that's cool. But Drew Holiday going to the Celtics is exactly what the Celtics need. He's just a better Marcus Smart. He plays defense. And when it comes down to winning in big-time games, you got to play defense. Dame Lillard, he didn't have much interest in this game tonight. He definitely did not have much interest on the defensive end in this game. And that's something that's kind of followed Dame throughout his career. And I don't know if he thinks that, hey, I'm going to partner with Giannis and, I'm going to play nice. I'm going to shoot deep threes and be ready for the playoffs. And then I'll, turn up then. It's not how this works. It's just not. Anyways, enough about the Bucks. This is a Raptors pod. Big win for the Toronto Raptors, 130-111 over the Milwaukee Bucks. Huge shouts to all the people in the chat. Really appreciate y'all rocking with the pod. Let's get to some comments because I know everybody is fired up. I know everybody is happy because, listen, we hear big win for the Toronto Raptors, ending a 3-game losing streak. So let's get to some comments here. All the people that are in my Instagram feed, by the way, make sure you follow at Canada Hoops Daily. That's where you will be able to find this pod long term. Let's get to some comments here as the comments are really filling up. We got Tammy. Tammy says, won't overreact to this win, just like I didn't overreact to the losses. Going to be a roller coaster this season. Good thing. I love roller coasters, and I'm here for the ride. Shouts to Tammy. I remember Tammy. Tammy was one of our longtime listeners for sure on the Wrap It Up pod. Huge shouts to Tammy for being back and rocking with the crew again and commenting, because that is true. And if you remember, that's one of my themes too, right? You can't get too high. You can't get too low. Basketball happens in between, right? The wins and losses. So stuff's going to happen. It's about the long-term process, right? And managing what your expectations are for this team and having the understanding that it is going to be a roller coaster ride. You are going to have instances where you lose to the last place team in the league. The Blazers get their first win of the season. And then the next time out, you're beating the Milwaukee Bucks, everyone's favorite to win the East and get back to the NBA Finals, right? So crazy. Ruben says, what's up, Sheldon? Ruben, what's up, my dude? How are you doing? I know the vibes are high. Ruben also says, Otto Porter is back. He definitely is. Otto Porter minutes. It was so funny. I did a double take when I looked up from my laptop and saw Otto Porter about to check into the game. Absolutely incredible. Colin checks in. Colin says, I was so angry after last game. I said, quote, that's it. I'm done with this team. Didn't watch tonight's game, but kept checking the score, tuning in here to see what I missed. Well, Colin, I hope I got you covered. I hope I gave you a good enough of a recap. And more importantly, gave you more reasons to tune in and watch against the Sixers. And it's so funny, the polar opposites of Tammy's comment to Colin's comment, because you can't get too high, you can't get too low. And that was a horrible game against the Blazers. I get it. They had a horrible loss against the Bulls, but I mean, that Bulls game was entertaining regardless. But I understand the anger. I understand the frustration. That's why on this pod, what I stress through the wins and losses is managing your expectations, but finding the things that you can build positives on throughout the whole season. So we talked about following Scotty Barnes' progression is going to be a huge thing this season. There's a lot of talk about him being the next face of the franchise. So tuning in each and every night, win or loss, and seeing how much that guy is developing, that alone, if you're a Raps fan, a big-time ball fan, that alone should be enough to interest you night in, night out. Scotty watch, see what he's doing. But hey, Colin, I hope you let me know. Did I do a good enough job in getting you updated on what happened in the game? I hope so. Let's see what else is going on. Instagram peoples, I see you. Shouts to you guys. Let's see, what do we got here? They shouldn't have fired Coach Bud. That's funny. Poor Adrian Griffin. Didn't even mention that. Adrian Griffin used to be the assistant coach of the Raptors. He goes to the Bucks. You're coming back to town. You know, you're feeling good. You got a promotion. Not only did you get a promotion, but you went to coach Giannis, and then Dame shows up too. And now you're Adrian Griffin. You're coming back to your old place, seeing your old friends. You feeling good. You feeling yourself a little bit, right? And then you get blown out by the Raps. Like that kind of sucks, right? But anyway, shout out to Adrian Griffin, and shout out to him bringing along a couple of Raptors assistants with him, former Raps assistants with him to Milwaukee. That's a huge love. That's huge bless. Raptors people just all over the place. Why? Because it's a sign of a great organization, right? At least that's what I think. That's what I feel. That's what I know. Actually, that's what I know. What else do we got here in the comments as I'm scrolling here? I'm trying to like scroll on multiple things at the same time. And I really just need to focus in on one. And that's you, the people. Let's see. Zero Drip Dante says, This game was for my mental health. I understand. Raptors fans needed a good win, and against the Bucks, I like it. Aisha says the vibes will be back if we win tomorrow. Wait, the vibes aren't back after tonight? No? A blowout win against the Bucks not enough to get the vibes back fully? Okay. Fair enough. Another comment here. Love how Dennis attacked Dame and scored every time. Bucks will miss Drew on defense. Totally agree. And you bring up a great point here as well. Dennis Schroeder being a vet. Again, I mentioned it earlier. He wants that Dame Lillard smoke, right? If you're a vet, and especially you're a vet, seeing all the talk about Dame Lillard the entire offseason, and then you're Dennis Schroeder, you get a late contract, probably not the contract that you feel like you deserve. You probably feel like you deserve a bigger contract, a longer term contract. So when you get the opportunity to go at one of those guys, you're going to go at one of those guys. And he did that in this game. And the way that he was going at Dame and then mean mugging him after, when Dame watches that tape back, it's going to be an interesting rematch in a couple weeks. And I'll be here for it too. More comments. Sixers have more depth than the Bucks, especially after the Harden trade. I mean, cool, but I still think you're relying too much on Joel Embiid, and I need to see that he's built that life in the playoffs first before I make any type of predictions about the Sixers going deep into the playoffs. Darko offense works now with Pascal making threes. I don't know if that's like, you can't bank on that 3-point shooting from Pascal and Scotty all the time. But hey, the hope is at least that when they are shooting the threes, they are more open looks because of the fact that these guys are, you're getting into the lane and then passing it out. You're hoping that more of their attempts will be uncontested attempts, right? That's the hope. Tammy says, glad you're back. Thank you, Tammy. Glad you're back as well. Scotty and Grady make me want to watch more games. Exactly, right? Something to watch. No matter what you got, everything is cool. Everything is great so far. And I think this is a big win for the Toronto Raptors. And I think nothing we can do but enjoy this victory if you're a Raptors fan, because you know what? It's needed. It was needed. It was needed for the vibes. Another comment here. As we won the game, let's talk about the refs. I don't like talking about the refs. I just don't. Win or lose, like the refs are just not good. What I will say though, I'll never talk about the refs because I feel like it's a waste of time. And I always think about because I just think refs are bad all the time. So the refs are bad against every team, every single night. Reffing is a very difficult thing to do. Refs make terrible calls. And I think it's even worse now with all of the reviews, because now you're going to be even more nervous if you're a ref, because you have to worry about, oh no, if I make this call, are they going to review it? And then you're going to see my big mistake that I just made. There's just so much going on, and adding the reviews made it even worse. So I'm not going to crush the refs. And it's very rare you'll ever hear me even come close to blaming the refs or saying whatever about the refs, because I just think the refs aren't good, period, because it's a very difficult job. But what I will say, and I'll continue to say, I do not like adding more reviews. Who asked for that? Who was a person that was like, you know what we need in the NBA? To slow the games down even more by adding more reviews. Why do I need a review in the first quarter? And then if you get that review right, you get another review. Who asked for more reviews? Where was this? Right? Where did they do this survey? Where did they drop it off? Who are the people that were filling it out saying, you know what? I really like the fast up and down play in the NBA, but you know what we really need? A break. So we can watch more replays. I've said this as well, even in the NFL, but in the NBA, they could definitely use it as well. What if you just had the extra ref that was just on the sidelines watching the monitor? So instead of having to stop and have these refs go over and watch the monitor, you just look over and my guy gives a signal. Maybe when he taps the top of his head, that means you're correct. Keep going. Maybe if he throws up an X, that means your call is wrong. overturned. But this whole let's stop the whole play so that these guys can go over there, watch like 10 replays over again while we blatantly see whether it was a right or wrong call on the first replay. Then we got to listen to them announce it into the camera now. And now we're adding more to the replay system? Nah, I'm done. Look, the replay system is so bad it even added more time to this pod. I'm going to end this on this comment here from Ann. Ann says, I hope the boys can build on the momentum from Philly this game let me read that correctly. I hope the boys can build on the momentum from this game tomorrow in Philly. I definitely agree with that. And I think that if you're Darko, if you're the Raps, that's got to be the message, the same way that you didn't get too low after the loss in Portland, you can't get too high after this win against the Bucks because you got more business to take care of. If you're in that room, you got to think, yeah, we're supposed to beat the Bucks. This is what we're supposed to do. So you know what we're going to do tomorrow? Beat the Sixers. That's got to be the vibes. At least that's the vibes that I'm going to end this podcast on, because I think, friends, Toronto Raptors had very good game. A much needed vibe check win for the Raptors tonight. Because if this was reversed, for example, and they got run out of the gym by Milwaukee, I don't even know what the vibes would have been like tomorrow in this fan base, in this media market. It would not have been pretty at all. So at least, this kind of like slows everyone down, reminds everyone that it's early. There's lots of basketball left to be played, and there's lots of time for these guys to figure out just what they're going to do this season. And hopefully they could have more vibes like they did tonight as your Toronto Raptors win 130-111 over the Milwaukee Bucks. Dennis Schroeder, 24 points, 11 assists on 9 of 13 shooting from the floor. Pascal Siakam also chipping in, 26 points. 6 rebounds, 7 assists. Your man, Scotty Barnes, continuing to put up big numbers and stuffing the stat sheet. Another 20 and 10 game for Scotty. 21 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. And I keep telling you, he keeps getting the block a game. For those single game parlay folks watching, just saying. On the flip side, Dame, 15 points. Giannis, 16 points. Who led the Milwaukee Bucks in scoring tonight? Trivia question for the people watching. I'll give you 3 seconds. I'll give you 2 seconds. I'll give you 1 second. Malik Beasley with 20 points. That's about all you need to know in terms of things from the Milwaukee Bucks side of things. And yeah, if Malik Beasley's leading you in scoring, chances are you're going to lose that game if you are the Bucks. 2-2 start for them. Who knows what's going on with them? Who cares what's going on with them? Right now, it's about the Raptors as they come out with a huge victory over said Milwaukee Bucks. Back at it Thursday night against the Philadelphia 76ers. A rematch, revenge game, hopefully, against Nick Nurse and company. New look Sixers, I guess. They got a bunch of random pieces. They got one of the Morris twins. They got Batum. Some weird pieces, but some vet pieces that, who knows? I think there's another move to be made there if you're Daryl Morey to bring in someone else. We'll see how that goes. Until next time, though, you know where you can find this podcast. Again, live after each and every Toronto Raptors game. You can find us on Twitter at CanHoopsDaily. That's how you can watch the live show. Send in your comments and questions. Also, make sure you follow that account because we got more news and insight for you on the daily basis. More to come under that brand as well. You can also catch the live show at Canada Hoops Daily on YouTube. Those are the 2 places where you can find the show live. Make sure you go there because that's where you're going to be able to find this podcast. If you ever miss it live, don't worry. We got you covered on Spotify and on Apple. Just look up again, Canada Hoops Daily. Huge shouts to Canada Hoops Daily for bringing back the Wrap It Up podcast. Wow, Wrap It Up podcast in English. Huge shouts for bringing back the pod because the vibes are high. I'm so hyped. I can't even speak anymore. Maybe that's telling me it's time to end the pod because I'm too hyped right now. But that's because the Raptors win, and hopefully we'll be back tomorrow for another win. Because as I always say, I used to pray for times like this to rhyme like this. This is Canada Hoops Daily presents Wrap It Up podcast. As always, unpolished, and unapologetic. Until next time, see ya.